All right, here we are at Douglas, ready to talk a little boys basketball. You guys are, Coach, this is what you work for all season. You're here in the area tournament. You're hosting the area tournament. There's a lot of things we're going to talk about today, but let's start with this. Hosting the area tournament's always great, but it's a double-edged sword. You got to be, on the hook, so to speak, for the officials. You got to get them here. You got to do the catering. There's a lot of things outside, but you'll take those to have home court advantage in the area tournament. But just talk about that. What all goes into hosting an area tournament?
Definitely, of course, just as far as just regular home game, setup and all that, it's not a whole lot different. But already got officials from the other association, reaching out, wanting to know details, and hospitality rooms, something you don't typically have, so getting that set up. Working out locker rooms where, because you typically use one visiting locker room, now we're having to do two. It's a lot, but I would take that all day long. I won't complain. To win the area in the season and host, I'll take that all day long.
10 out of 10 times.
Absolutely.
Heading into this tournament, and I've talked to several coaches this week and last week about area play, and I've got the same message from most coaches, which is kind of coaches speak, which is, hey, it is just another game. We approach it with another thing. How do you look at it? It is just another game, but it's also a game you need to win. You know what I'm saying? Because you want to be area champs regardless.
Right. I've learned never just hope your guys understand the magnitude of a game, because that has hurt us sometimes. There's times that we've come in and I thought, okay, they're going to be zoned in, and they were not. So they've got to understand that this is. And I told them, I said, when you go and you're guarding a guy, you're not just guarding that guy. You're guarding your opportunity to play in the next level at Wallace or at Birmingham. I said, every game you play, I don't care who it is, whether you think you can beat them or whether you don't think you can, they are what's in your way. You got to take it as that is what's keeping you from finishing the season. So you definitely got to look at every game as, I told them, one game at a time coming up, one game at a time. We've beat everybody in our area, but we're capable of losing tonight in the first round. Crossville's a solid team. They've gave us 2 great games, and I know they're looking at this one right here. They're coming out for blood. So we can't take any game lightly anymore this season. So
when you look at Coach Shankle's team and what he's done over there, they folded the football program because of numerous reasons, this, that, and other. But he's done an outstanding job with those guys. That they play hard. And can you talk about when you go up against their teams, what challenges they present?
First of all, Coach Shankle's a heck of a coach. He always has been. And I knew when he took that job, I knew eventually it's going to be a struggle with them. And of course, a lot of these guys have been on his team since they were freshmen, and they've kind of grown up these last few years, and they play together so well. They do what he does. Coach Shankle runs one of the hardest defenses to teach, and that's a matchup zone. Those guys do it to perfection, and they make it so hard to score on, and they get after it. And man, just when they do what they do, they just make it so hard. I know they're not the biggest and strongest guys, but I'm telling you, the way they get after it, they just, right there under you the whole game. And they got guys that can score. Coach Shankles is great as far as shooting coach, and he's got guys that can shoot the ball. Dangerous. That's what they are a dangerous team. As long as Coach Shankle's coaching them, for sure.
When you guys come into this area, when I look across on the boys' side of your guys' area, there is no cupcakes. All these teams are coached well. All these teams have good players.
Right.
It comes down to execution. In my opinion, I think you probably agree with that. What's it take for Douglas, these guys right here, hosting this tournament, executing and playing at their peak heading into this area tournament?
I think it is a matter of everybody on the same page, us finally playing together. We've had games, and it's wild. You can go back and watch our games. We've had a different 5 finish our game just about every night.
Wow.
And that's
wild to think about.
Right. And there's, every guy on our team, there's 10 guys or 12 guys on our team that have all contributed, legit. So, and it's typically because you got 2 or 3 that may have started, a couple that started that wasn't playing their best, and other guys have stepped up. But if we can have all those guys clicking, not just 3 guys having a good night, not just these 5 having a good night, but if we can have all our guys on page, and we can do that consistently, one game at a time, at this point there's no bad nights. You can't have a bad night anymore.
That's right.
And if they can zone in and just take the mental part out of it, mental part is so much, it affects athletes so much. If we can take that part out of it and just play our best, and hopefully we can have more than 7 guys playing really good, I think we can beat anybody. And, like you said, it is tough competition, especially all the way for us, all the way through Wallace. But there's really not just that one team right now that I think is just going to run the table. I really think, I look at all the areas that'll all meet up at Wallace, and I think it's almost a toss-up by a lot of teams, which is going to make it really interesting.
You guys have, we seen it last week when we sat at this table and we interviewed both boys and girls seniors. Mm-hmm. You had a table full of seniors. And I'm talking about a table full of guys that has logged several hours of basketball with you in this program and know each other outside of this. Talk about that when you go to battle. That right there alone says volumes, because the guy beside him, and the guy beside him, they all know what they're all going to be doing before they do it.
Oh, yeah, man. When you sit in a timeout and, you're down 3 or in the fourth quarter, and you look and you see these guys that you've seen their faces for 4+ years, and you have depended on them, and they've come through for you multiple times. That makes me feel really good and comfortable, especially going in postseason, that I got guys that I know are not going to lay down on me, not going to quit on us. I've seen them fight through it before. I've seen them fall before, but I've seen them get back up, and I've seen them persevere through stuff. So, man, that says a lot. And something that happened the other night, we had senior night, and had 7 seniors, so we had 2 regular starters that they said, Coach, we're not going to start. We had 5 other ones start, and those jokers played the whole first quarter and scored 24 points, got a huge run. Trey, who was our manager that's now playing, I think he had a couple threes to start the game out. I mean, we couldn't miss.
That's
and
awesome.
It was just a testament of our whole senior class. There's no holes in them. And of course that was good, because some of those guys hadn't got a whole lot of minutes. But in that game the other night, they said, Coach, I want minutes now. Like, it's crunch time, and it's going to make it hard subbing these next few games, because I can depend on all of them.
Yeah, that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, really.
You'd rather have that problem than having to search and look down the bench and not finding somebody.
Absolutely.
Coach, your mindset heading into a win or go home scenario, which you're in right here. Basically, to me, this is playoffs is what makes basketball. Tournaments is what makes basketball.
Right.
Does your mindset change as a coach, or is it the status quo, or how do you approach it personally?
It does, and we try not to, when we scout, we try not to over-scout. We try not to over-prepare. We try and do things when it comes postseason. I feel like a lot of teams try to over-prepare, and I try to take me out of as much as possible and let it be these guys. So we pick up conditioning, we pick up defensive drills and stuff like that. Things that I feel like we typically slack on, those are what we pick up. We know what we're going to do. Teams know what we're going to do, and we know what, for the most part, what other teams are going to do. So instead of us really over preparing as far as X's and O's, we just continue to push ourselves. I try not. Of course, I'm one of those guys. My stomach gets tore up before every game. I'm sick of my stomach just because it's not worried about it. But that's why I love getting to set up the gym all day in this area tournament, because it kind of gets my mind off everything. I'm kind of worried about got stuff to do. I stay busy, but we try not to. And you try not to make this such a huge deal where the guys are nervous, but you also don't want to downplay it, because you know that it's win or go home. So try and stay, as far as mentality as a coach, we try to keep it as level as we possibly can, but also let them know that there's, at this point in time, no bad days. It's all good days.
Yeah, makes sense. And I'm like you, I like to keep my mind occupied, because when I sit around idle, I start thinking too much.
I do too.
I've always been that type of guy.
Yeah.
Coach, before we shut it down, man, just any thoughts? Could be about the game, could be about the tournament, purchasing ticket, whatever it may be. Anything, floor is yours, so to speak.
If anybody sees this today before tonight, we hope that you come out tonight. It's going to be a great night of basketball. Douglas and Crossville, it's been a great matchup all year, but we need the support. We need the community. We've always had a community. We got the best community, the best town around. I love Douglas, grew up in Douglas, and it's home, and the atmosphere of ball games have not changed. So please, towards this end of the season, come out and support us. Boaz Sardis after us tonight will be a good game, but we are really need everybody's support and be here and cheer these guys on, because they've been through this program for a long time, and they've kept this program, I felt like, at a high level, like it's always been, like it's expected in this community. So let's come out and support them tonight, that they might just come out and put on a show for you.
There you go. Coach, I appreciate you sitting in with us. Thank you so much,
Yes, sir.
and good luck to you guys.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.